went fishing.
Call to order the Finance Committee meeting for Monday, October 11th.
Specs.
Given by Councilman Kluwat.
Everybody please stand, bow your head. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we bless you for this day. Thank you for carrying us most of the way through the hurricane season and keep us all safe. Lord, we thank you for the little light rain we got right now. We need a little bit more. Lord, we want to continue our prayers for Brent DeLone and his family as he comes through his times of hardship. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ms. Suzanne. All councilmen present. I have no chairs additions. And a reminder about the public comment period if you want to speak.
I'd like to amend my prayer. I said DeLone. I think of the DeLone family is the other side, Brent Shakespeare.
All right. Okay, we'll move into our finance.
That's the first.
That is a first. Do we need a motion on that? Yeah, okay.
As long as it don't cost us anything.
Yeah, right. Okay. Finance report section, number 5, bid items, Ms. Jones.
On September 9th, 2010, the Purchasing Department received one bid for precast reinforced box culverts. The bid was received from Capital Concrete. After review, the Purchasing Department and Department of Public Works recommend accepting the lowest responsive bid from Capital Concrete Products.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Bell. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes.
On September 9, 2010, the Purchasing Department received 5 bids for playground equipment and installation for Lorry Community Park. The bids were received from Kincaid Recreation, Planet Recess, Total Recreation, T.F. Harper, and Kyle Recreation. After review, the Purchasing Department and Recreation Department recommend accepting the lowest responsive bid from Kyle Recreation and to authorize the parish president to enter into an agreement for the playground project.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Joseph, second by Councilman Bell. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes.
On October 11, 2010, the Purchasing Department received one bid for Chronos 4500 Terminal Electric Time Clock. The bid was received from Chronos. After review, the Purchasing Department and Technology Department recommend accepting the lowest responsive bid from Chronos.
Motion by Councilman Thompson, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes.
On August 26, 2010, the Purchasing Department received one proposal for household hazardous materials. The proposal was received from PSC Environmental Services, LLC. After review, the Non-Engineering Professional Selection Committee recommend accepting the proposal from PSC and to authorize the parish president to enter into an agreement for this service.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Joseph, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes. Thank you. We'll move into item number 6, our sales and use tax report for the month. Ms. Quinn?
Good evening, members of the Finance Committee. You have before you your monthly report. It shows our 3 sales tax districts and the September collections compared to last September 09 and the year-to-date of each. And you can see in that middle column whereby the September collections are a little bit ahead of last year at this time, where year-to-date is anywhere from 0.5% to almost 2% under budget at this, under collections for year-to-date. And then the last column on your right shows it compared to the budget at 75% of the year. We're almost anywhere from 5 to 10% ahead of our budget. We do anticipate making our budget this year. And we're also generally seeing a slight increase in our building permits issued from a report from our building department for year-to-date, it's a plus 3.2%. So hopefully that will continue also. And the next few pages are your normal charts. I won't go into it. I'll save my time for the budget. But if you have any questions or if you have any after the meeting, be sure and call me and I'll let you answer any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions, comments for Gwen? No? Okay, if not, we will move on to our next item, our revenue and expenditure report. Ms. Amanda?
Good evening. Before you is the financial report as of the month of August 2010, which is at 67% of the year. Your total revenues are at 50.65%. Your expenditures are at 45.72%. On page 4 and 5 of the report is an explanation of the items highlighted in green that are 5% under the budget for revenues or 5% over the budget for expenditures. On the last page of the report is a list of all checks issued for the month of August over 100,000, and the total of those checks are $4,119,730. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer at this time.
Are there any, I have a question, are there any, since revenues are down, I mean, is it a function of just sales tax declining? Well, I'm sure obviously that's part of it, but as far, are there any other things out there that we just haven't collected yet? Either, bills or things owed to us or audits or anything like that?
On the sales taxes?
In terms of our revenues in general?
No, everything's coming in on budget as of right now.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments? Nope. Okay, thank you. We'll move into item number 8, the presentation of the 2010 amended budget and the 2011 budget. Parish President Tommy Martinez.
I'm going to turn it over to Gwen for the first part.
Yes, I'll review the budget with you, and then right after President Martinez would like to make a few comments. So on behalf of the Parish President, we would like to present the 2011 budget for Ascension Parish government tonight, and at the same time present the final amendment for the 2010 budget. The budget has been prepared to maintain all individual funds with a positive fund balance as of December 31st, 2011, and is presented on line item budget. That basis, that would be your large budget you have before you. We're not going to go through that tonight, you'll be glad to know. But we've extracted some of the main points of the budget and putting them into booklet form, which I'll go over with you in a few minutes. The operating budget is based on conservative estimates with every effort to continue vital services necessary for the citizens of our parish. But on the other hand, the capital budget is an aggressive budget with funding primarily provided by grants and bond revenues issued in prior years. The highlights of the budget are contained in the budget message, and I'll comment on a few of them. Our parish road system is in 2011, we intend to spend $17.2 million. It's committed for both the operating and the construction budget. And the East Ascension drainage system has committed $37.5 million for maintenance and construction of improvements throughout the drainage system on the east side of the parish. The Lamar Dixon Expo Center, the parish was able to retire the debt in 1.5 years for the purchase of the Lamar Dixon Expo Center, totally with federal and state grants, and thereby eliminating the approximate $65,000 a year on the interest due on the debt. The parish received and was awarded a $19 million community development block grant. Of that amount in 2011, $4.2 million will be spent at Lamar Dixon for upgrading the buildings. And of course, the Lamar Dixon Expo Center will enhance the quality of life for all the citizens of Ascension Parish. The comprehensive sewer system, part of that same CDBG grant of $19 million, a part of that will be used to develop a wastewater system on the east side of the parish. And also, as you all know, the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality has awarded the parish an $18 million loan, and these funds will be used to build a parish-wide sewer treatment plant. And the action will begin the development of a multi-year parish sewer system. Recreation, we consolidated all activities parish-wide to enhance programs and better manage revenue sources for improvements to all our parks and recreation centers throughout the parish. The engineering department was a new department created in 2011. We're consolidating all of our engineering and support staff to cross-train and work as a group in a multidiscipline capacity. Also in 2011, the grants department, a dashboard was created for grant compliance, which creates transparency in the community as well as monitoring of grants from the state and Washington, D.C. Our parish prison, we completed the expansion, or will complete the expansion and renovations, which will require an additional annual appropriation of approximately $900,000 for the cost of operations and maintenance to the complex, as well as to retire the debt for bonds sold to finance the expansion. Our fire districts in the budget, they have an additions and renovations to fire stations and actually the construction of one new fire station. Once we conclude the review, what we'd like to request the Finance Committee is to recommend to the Council their October 21st regular meeting to introduce the budget ordinance and to call a public hearing and adopt the 2010 amended budget and the 2011 budget at the regular meeting of the Council on November the 18th, 2010. That would be our schedule. Okay, now if you turn to your little blue booklet, on page 1, this is the 2011 budget summary. You can see our budget is comprised of two component units. We have our operating budget and our capital budget. Our operating budget starts at the top, and under it you can see all the funds that comprise the operating budget. That continues on page 2, but it starts with the general fund. And if you go across, we show you the titles of the columns. It would be the revenues expected to be received in 2011, and the transfers in and out or in between funds, inter-fund transfers in and out. The expenditure column is in the middle, and then you'll see either you're operating for only the year 2011 anticipated either a surplus or a deficit, which will add or subtract to your beginning fund balance and results in the fund balance ending, the last column. So as usual, you announce your budget on your expenditures. So you'll start with the general fund. You can see right under the expenditure column, the general fund is anticipated to spend $13.5 million, and all your special revenues funds, all these funds, you'll see the last column, it says total special revenue funds, and under expenditures, they account for $34.2 million of our budget. And then turning to page 2, again under expenditures, the next group of funds in our operating budget is the debt service funds, and that total to retire the debt payments in 2011 is $6.8 million. And the next little group of funds is our enterprise and internal service funds, and their budget is $8.5 million. And then the total operating budget is $63 million. And then next is our capital budget, and that's all our capital projects in 2011. And if you go on down to the bottom and they name each fund that has construction, it's $52.4 million, and that equates to a total budget for 2011 of $115,409,000. And if we turn to page, well, actually, if you look back up at the middle of the page at your operating budget, you will see that we're using $5.2 million of our fund balance to balance our expenditures, and that is made up of mainly made up of East Ascension drainage. They have an operating deficit of $493,000. That's for a major repair for flood control. And Sales and Use Tax District 1 has a $1.1 million operating deficit, and we think that will increase with the increase of collections. would decrease with the increase of collections. Recreation Fund has a $404,000 operating deficit, but they are maintaining a fund balance of $2 million, and that is to continue upgrading our recreation parks in the parish, a project that was started a year, maybe a year and a half ago. Fire District 1 has a $1.2 million operating deficit, and they are transferring funds to their construction fund for those construction of those fire departments. Fire District number 3 has a $507,000 operating deficit, and that too is going to their construction fund. And they're maintaining a $3.6 million fund balance. Utilities Fund, they have an operating deficit of $487,000, and as we've heard through our audit processes in the last few years, the user fees are not absorbing enough of the operation and maintenance of the sewer systems that we currently own. So if you go to page 3, this is a bar chart showing just the operating budget, not the capital budget, and it's 2010 compared to 2011. And it's mainly just to show by the bar, the different colors in the bar chart, the majority of the money being spent where. And you can see 2011 compared to 2010. 2011's total is $67.1 million, and compared to $68.9 million for 2010. And it also shows, besides the revenues, that $5 million required fund balance to operate. Well, $5 million in 2011. It was about $2 million in 2010. And then on the left-hand side, we show you the operating budget expenditures in a bar chart, and you can easily see in 2010 it was $70 million, and it went down. In 2011, we're budgeting $63 million, and the bulk of that would be in general government, as you can see the colors in the chart. And on page 4 is the backup for these charts. If you want to go, look at each one, you will see, like in revenue, sales taxes, that's in 2011 is $28.5 million budgeted, and that represents about 46.2% of all revenues collected for the 2011. And the next one is property taxes at $13.8 million. And that represents about 22.3% of all revenues. So our two main revenues are sales taxes and property taxes. And if you go to page 5, this is the capital budget, the same thing, 2010 compared to 2011. And you can see how much of the fund balance we intend to use in 2011 compared to 2010. And of course, that's what you do when we sell bonds, is for future construction or grants received, the construction part of the grants. So that's revenues received in prior years for construction. And you can see the expenditures too, what we're spending it on. And the biggest one is drainage, and next is purple actually. That's that $19 million community development block grant that we received, of which $14.6 million is budgeted in 2011 for construction projects. And then the road system. And that too on page 6 is the figures that correspond to those charts you can look at. And then on page 7, because roads is our top priority in our parish, we wanted to illustrate the parish's commitment in these charts for both the maintenance and construction projects for the parish road system in 2011. And you can see in 2011, we committed $17.2 million to our road system for both construction and maintenance. And that's on, of course, the left-hand side. On the right-hand side is another major priority in our parish for infrastructure, is the East Ascension drainage, and that too combines its operating funds with its capital budget funds. And you can see that in 2011, in the total for commitment to the district for improvements to the drainage system in the east side of the parish is $37.5 million. And the figures are on page 8. And then on page 9 is the ordinance itself, and that's amending the 2010 budget and appropriating year 2011. And that goes through page 12. And that's what we'd like for you to, after you hear from President Martinez and we have any questions and answer session, to introduce at your next regular meeting for public hearing and adoption at the November 18th meeting. So without any further questions at the moment, I'll turn it over to President Martinez for his comments.
Well, as you can see, we took the conservative approach again. Basically, if you want to fill the gap in on the fund balances where you have a negative, we actually budgeted $2 million, or right at $2 million less in sales tax and revenues next year in collections. Not knowing what's going to happen next year, we feel like this is the right approach to take, and we've continued to do so over the past 3 years, and it's worked out to our advantage. As you know, at the end of the year, any surplus monies do go half into the road program and half into sewer utilities, basically. So that's what happens with anything that ends up at the end of the year. So that's how we got our sales tax, sales and use tax balance back up. At one time it was dangerously low, and now it's we're in a posture now that if we do have an emergency or anything that comes up, that we will have enough money to operate for at least a 5 to 6 month period. So, and that's what we've tried to maintain in the past, and we've gotten and reached our goal in spite of our taxes being low. A couple of things that we need to note: we have paid off Lamar Dixon, which means that we don't have any debt there. Next year, we're not anticipating using any government monies to put into Lamar Dixon, and it should end up with close to $1 million balance, anywhere from $900,000 to $1 million balance. Of course, that's all due to most of it's due to BP, and hopefully they'll stay for another anywhere from 8 to 10 months, which is pretty much what they've talked to me about. That will help, but other than that, it would operate it, I think, in a positive manner also this year. So that's some good news. We won't have to utilize any money next year on that building and facility, and hopefully we've also budgeted conservative there because we didn't take into account any monies that will go from the Festival of Festivals into the account, and we're relatively low on other things that when we budgeted it. So that's a good thing. Now, on the negative side, if you heard Ms. LeBlanc talk, we have a full year behind us with the new jail and the construction, and basically it's costing us $1 million a year to maintain the new prison. But that's something that we have to do here in Ascension. We hear about crime in other parishes, but here it's our sheriff's office does an excellent job, and one of the hopefully the deterrence to this is having the jail, having the space to put them in if they do commit the crime. So again, hopefully that project will end this year, but that's something that we have to look for in the future that's going to be here forever, that we're going to have to continually maintain. Other things, road program, we're going to do about $7 million in overlay this year. Coming up is basically what we budgeted. We put aside $4 million for 73 to actually do the sewer on 73, so that's $4 million of your $11 million in your capital projects. So that's something good. We need roads. We're going to continue to work on that. We're going to continue to whittle away at that process. I think we've got a lot of our main roads in good shape, parish roads. We're working with the state. They got a lot of money also for capital outlay next year to work on some of the state roads, so we can improve both the state and the parish roads at the same time and work together in unison. 42, we had a meeting this past week. Looks like that's going to move forward. There's a public hearing coming up. We're going to let you know what exact date on that. And so that's good. Recreation, we've done a lot there. We've did a lot of capital outlay. We put the $750,000 in extra, and I think Mr. Gautreaux and his crew has done an excellent job in doing so and maintaining a healthy fund balance. So all of our fund balances are in good shape. I think the parish is in good shape financially. I think we budgeted very conservatively, and I look forward to a good year next year as far as finances again.
Okay. Thank you. Before I...
And we will, let me just say
Okay.
that anybody has any questions about the budget, we are willing, the staff, anyone can come into the offices and sit down one-on-one prior to the meeting. Be glad to sit down and discuss any issues with you.
One of the big things that stands out to me, I guess the biggest in going through it, is the 10% cut in operating expenses from 73 million to 63 million. I'm sorry, from 70 million to 63 million. A 7 million cut is very lean. I know we've talked a lot about tightening our belts and everything else. I think that's a great example. I want to commend Parish President Martinez and the Finance Department and everything for working through all of those necessary cuts so that we can then, at the same time, as you see in the budget, that massive infusion of capital projects. I mean, every little bit we can save can go to our biggest problems in terms of infrastructure. So I appreciate the effort, and it continues, I think, the tradition of bringing us very conservative budgeting. So thank you. Councilman Lambert.
Yeah, I have one question. Might go to Bill or Parish President. In the drainage, I see in personnel, we have a reduction of about 1.2 million in personnel. Are we eliminating that many jobs? I know it is both drainage operating and capital both together, but I see a pretty good drop in personnel right there.
Well, I think we had the freeze on, and you know, Bill lost quite a few people, didn't replace them. We're going to replace some of those come January, and but not all of them, and that's part of it. The other thing is that by doing the engineering department, and that's taking a lot of the cost out of the engineering department by putting these engineers in their own, creating that engineering department, takes that money out right now, and it's put into another fund. So anyway, that's one of the things that we've looked at, and across the board, we've kind of worked toward that direction. So if Bill has any thing he wants to add to that, I'd certainly be glad to let him come up and speak.
Like I said, I was just looking, I see road and bridge stayed the same for its personnel, but drainage has had a pretty good reduction.
Yeah, and the main thing, we're talking about engineering, the major group of people moving to the engineering department are the survey crew, which is a number of people. So all of the survey crew, which is predominantly under drainage department, is moving to the engineering group, in addition to the engineers, which I have two now. You know, it's paid under drainage. So that's quite a number of people moving.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
And also with, you finished?
I'm finished.
Yeah, within that engineering department, Parish President Bill and DPW, everybody that, with the electronic systems we have in place, it's no problem tracking those guys' times, and the fund pools that they're coming from shouldn't be any issue.
A problem whatsoever, and you'll get the monthly report, so you can look at them. Won't be anything there that's not accounted for.
Okay. Councilman Schicksner.
Well, I'd like to commend you, President, on looking on general government, went from 24.9 million to 20 million, about $5 million out of general government operating expenses. So you're trimming down the areas that you're in charge of. And just let people know that we are making decisions according to the money that we have. And I appreciate that, because it just shows that, as Todd was saying, we kept the road and bridge up, and it looks like drainage is still in pretty good shape along with recreation. So the services seem to be there, and we're cutting back the operating costs. So I appreciate that.
Two things not in here is that the sewer money, because we have not officially taken control of it. And also, Bill, we've applied for about $6 million in grants. If that $6 million comes in, it's going to take that $400,000 deficit and put that money back, because that money will be used for it. So we're anticipating that budget will not be in a deficit at the end of the year in the event that we do get any of the grant money.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Cluett.
Yeah, once again, thank you to all the staff for working hard towards a lean budget and looking toward the future. One of the things that it's just a forethought that we I would, one of the things that concerns me, we've got a nice jail right now. It's juvenile detention, what we can do for rehabilitation and all, and working with the juveniles in the parish. Those numbers are growing all the time. And if some way that can be incorporated somewhere down, working with the sheriff's office and everybody.
Actually, I think the juvenile expenses have gone down in the last couple of years, believe it or not. But basically, we have to send our children to St. James or other facilities.
Right.
And there was some talk about purchasing the St. James Youth Facility at
Right.
one time. That's been a year and a half ago, with some of the judges and different people, not from parish governments,
Right.
but there was a thought that we could save money maybe if we actually purchased
And
a
that's-
part
that's
of it.
just-
But I don't know where that went. I hadn't heard any more, but that's
just something basically looking at the whole
That's it.
judicial district, which
Right.
cover the
That's-
three
that's-
parishes.
that's
That's
it.
something that we can all improve in that area. That may not be totally under our control right now.
no. But anyway, we got to pay it, whatever happens. And right now, we send them to wherever they have space. And but I think generally, on the whole, we've actually reduced our cost of incarcerating juvenile. So.
Yeah. All right, thank you, sir.
Councilman Todd Lambert?
Yeah, Mr. President, one more quick question on the sewer issue. I know we hired this group to do a little study and see where they're coming with the court. Got any updates on that? With the money that we're actually gonna borrow if this comes to?
Well, I think they're going to, I'm hoping they're going to come to us
Did we have a time frame on
with the
that?
recommendation. I'm going to ask Adrian to call a special sewer meeting, not this week, but next. Give everybody a copy of the proposals, let everybody look at them, and then get up the recommendations from that committee and see where we go from there. It's certainly, we have to be willing to meet with DEQ and decide which direction we're going in. So at that point, we'll get an update. I don't want to speculate on which way they're going to go, but
That's fine.
I need to have an answer also to when we get with DEQ, have them back here and decide whether we're going to move forward with the loan or not.
Right, that's what I was getting at.
I'll just tell you this: the key stickling point right now is again the hookup fees, and that's something we can get into a little later. But I've asked them, both the respondents, to try and lower that and come back with the lowest that they can, and at that point, then I think we'll make the recommendation and come in. Because right now it's almost entirely too high on the hookup fees, so we got to figure something else out. And that's just my thoughts, but that's what we charged those two companies to do, come back with a plan.
All right.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I need a motion to
I'll make that
proceed
motion,
to the next.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert and second by Councilman Randy Cluett to get this on the next council meeting in the next stage of the process. Any objection? Motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to item number 9. We'll start our report section with an update on our insurance from Mr. Harry Robert.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you. Of course, thank you for allowing me to work with you. I just wanted to give you all an update. I know that probably with the new Health Reform Act, there's probably been some anxiety as exactly how it's going to affect us. I just want y'all to know that things are going just as normal. We solicited about 20 companies, and we had a response from about half of them, and half of those actually gave us a quote. So probably within the next couple of weeks, we'll come back with a recommendation and let you know exactly where we are with our health insurance program. But we're not anticipating any large increase or anything of that nature. Just wanted to pass that on to y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry.
Okay, thank you. Item number 10, a contracts report. Ms. Kim? Is she here? Gwen, you?
I'll
okay.
give that report. You have before you your monthly contracts report. There's 11 contracts that were entered into in the month of September. So if you want to take a few seconds to look at it, if you have any questions, I may not be able to answer tonight, but I'll certainly get you the answer.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on the contracts report for the month? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on. I'm sorry, Councilman
Quick
Quillen?
question. Gwen,
Yes, sir.
I see the contract on energy for Lamar Dixon. Do we have the same thing for Demco?
Yes, we do.
I thought we did, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
And also for BP, you know.
All right, we'll move on to the Lamar Dixon report, item number 11. Mr. Vogt?
Good evening, gentlemen. Just want to call your attention to the fact I am wearing these headsets. I'm not listening to a ball game. I'm wearing these so I can hear you better. So, highlights of the Lamar Dixon Fund. The 2010 beginning fund balance was $92,963. As of August 31st, revenues were at $2,967,074, or 35% of budget. Expenditures were at $2,747,355, or 32% of budget. We are operating with a surplus of $219,718, which leaves a projected ending balance of $312,682 as of August 31st. Tommy, or President Martinez mentioned briefly that BP, we're optimistic they're going to stick around. In conversations that I had with BP today, they indicated they would, in all likelihood, stay beyond February, which is very good news. That will be extending our existing short-term lease with them. In addition to that, BP subcontractor, Art Catering, is discussing a 4 to 6 month lease of the commissary building. And I'll let Garney Gotro discuss that further since he's hiring that handling that directly. Personnel, we've had some personnel changes recently. Our operations supervisor and a laborer recently resigned. And Kyle Rogers, one of our event managers, has gone back to work for SMG, which is a former operating company of the Lamar Dixon. We're currently interviewing for several other labor positions, and we'll schedule interviews for the operating supervisor this week. And the event manager position will remain unfilled for the moment. We're still trying to analyze whether we need to fill that position. We do have one other person in a similar position right now. Over the past few months, we've made a number of facility improvements, not the least of which is the demolition of the bleachers in the 4-H building, resulting in 74,000 square feet of open exhibit space. That is very, very popular with the folks that do large shows, especially the sportsman shows, the RV shows, and so forth. That doubles the space that we have available for that kind of flat floor show. We've done other major repairs of doors and hardware throughout the building and the facility. We have ongoing major cleaning of all the buildings and grounds. You're also going to start seeing some major fall cleaning of the grounds in preparation for the Festival of Festivals. We're also repainting the banquet ballroom area in anticipation of doing more business with a lot of for wedding business, parties, and so forth. On Thursday, I'm meeting with Dick Stair, the Perez Architects of New Orleans, to discuss some grant opportunities for facility improvements. Now, with all these improvements we've made, we're able now to start concentrating on bookings. I am pleased to say that we hope that within this week, we're going to make a major announcement. After several months of discussion, we have a major event that is planning to move from New Orleans to the Lamar Dixon, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to make that announcement this week. This has been a long time coming, but I think it'll be worthwhile. We recently, on a smaller scale, but every bit as important, we recently partnered with Levette Watts and Sharon Morris and their associates to do a first annual bridal expo to remember. A great bridal show event where we had both purveyors of services and customers, brides and so forth, there at the facility to see what was available in the community, and particularly to see what was available at Lamar Dixon. In recent years, we have not been doing any kind of banquet business up there in that space, and we quit doing receptions. That's back on the agenda now, and we're actively taking bookings there. And I suspect that within the next year or so that banquet/ballroom will be one of the busiest facilities, part of the facility there at Lamar Dixon. Along that same line, we've developed a simple party plan that we can market to brides and other people that want to have parties, that eliminates all the negotiating with multiple steps of negotiating that's required to get some of these events done. They have a blanket price, a set price, and all the services that'll be offered to everybody at the same price, which is a slight break on cost for them, but it ensures us the ability to book those events and do it very profitably. We are also working with Ticketmaster currently to set up the Lamar Dixon ticketing system. This is probably one of the most important elements for us to get our concert business going. So once we have that in line, we can actively promote to concert promoters around the country, regionally and around the country. Another little aside, as you drive by Lamar Dixon, in addition to the BP traffic, we also have considerably more RV parking out there now. In the middle of the summer, we were averaging 15 to 20 units a day, and we're up to well over 100 now. Festivals is coming along very well, and we're optimistic that we're going to have a splendid event in November. One other item here, I and members of the Finance Committee or Finance Department are meeting with with Michael Vallon of the State Attorney General's office to discuss the parish's ability to solicit corporate sponsors. With the changeover from a private management firm to a parish-managed facility, we've run into some legal hurdles we've got to overcome, but we're confident that we're going to be able to work those out, and hopefully we'll be able to get into some major sponsorship solicitation. So if y'all don't have any other questions, that's it for my report.
Questions for Mr. Vogt? Comments? Anything?
Thank you.
Councilman Benson Lambert?
Yeah, John, on the RV, are you going to increase the lots, or what are you doing as far as accommodating the lots that we have there now?
Well, right now, we're well below capacity.
Okay.
On a regular basis. Now, we do have events like the LSU Livestock Show and other major events that do max the property out. We currently have 300 existing spaces, plus we're able to do another 75 or so on a temporary basis without sewer. So right now, we're maintaining the status quo and just trying to market the use of the facility for RV parking. We've recently started listing it on various websites, tourism websites and things like that, to just let people know that the facility exists and that we can accommodate them.
Councilman Thompson?
Yes, John. You said y'all removed the bleachers out the 4-H building?
Yes, sir.
So if you have an event, y'all have some you can bring in there?
Yes, so we're gonna do a short-term rental of bleachers when we do need them for events like the 4-H. Or like the LSU show.
Okay, I was just wondering, since you removed them, what you're gonna do when you have an event that.
Well, we have promised LSU that we will provide them seating for 500 people for that event, and in the meantime, that also gives us a lot more flexibility for other kinds of shows.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you, Mr. Vogt.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 12, a recreation report. Mr. Gotro? I'm sorry, Parish President?
Yeah, I've asked these departments to come by and give you a report, and I think at every meeting I'm going to get a couple more, so each one of you will be able to understand. Like the Recreation Department, we don't have any kind of permanent funding for them. We take 10% of the 1%. So his funding is based on rentals also, and hopefully he can rent Lamar Dixon and make a little money between the Y building and the commissary and the chapel, and the only We're gonna put him in for a license so he can be a deacon or a minister, where he can do weddings, and
If he has a declaration, I'd be glad to perform.
and we might make him an Elvis, so we can have Elvis.
Background check on it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our fund balance is $1,708,000. We have, the revenue is at 74%. Our expenditures are at 60%. If y'all will notice on the miscellaneous revenues, a lot of that is from fall ball and the rental of the different facilities, even though we've lost the Sorrento Civic Center or the Ascension Civic Center, and we're doing renovations at Dara Community Center. We're all finishing those up. Oak Grove Community Center. This coming Saturday at 9:30, we're having a rededication or grand opening. So if y'all want to come play in the water park, y'all come on. At Lamar Dixon, the chapel, we've taken all the shrubbery that was around it. It had termites in it and all, and we completely redone the outside of it with screwing up all the boards and stuff with all the cracks and everything, and we had it repainted. We got benches in front of it now. We got water fountains, and it looks real super. So, in fact, one of the TV stations was out, I think about a month ago, and took pictures of it and all, had it in the paper. The parks and all in good shape. Fall ball is finishing up this week, and we have the seniors at Gore Park. It's unbelievable. We had 26 teams, men's teams in the softball league this year. Co-ed, we have, I think, 12 of 13 teams this year already coming up for fall ball, and that is a revenue-getting thing because we're doing real good with it. That's pretty much everything I have.
Okay. Questions? Councilman Thompson?
Yes, Mr. Gotro, I noticed that you fixed the lights out at
Dara,
Park.
right.
And I noticed how you took the fence down and you built a little fencing around the
Basketball courts.
Basketball court.
Sure.
Are you planning on putting up a solid fence in front of that?
No, sir.
I just have a concern of one of the kids playing basketball, lose the ball, and then run out there and a car coming in.
Right. We can look at it, Adrian, Mr. Councilman, but our main thing was to kind of open it up, get the fence away from it, because it was always falling down, it was hitting and everything, and we have a circular drive. We've done part of the parking lot now with reclaim, and we're coming in with, we got a big pecan tree we got to take out, if you notice, in the middle of it. We're taking that out also, and we have a parking lot all the way across the front. That way we can take the facility, it's almost complete. We think to put the metal at the bottom of it where it was all rusted out and everything else and all. The inside is pretty much completed. And when we rent it now, we'll be able to lock it, you know what I mean, the gate on the outside. And the ones using the basketball court and the baseball fields can have a parking lot on the side.
I think we need to check that back door because I think
Well,
somebody's still going in there.
We went,
The other day had some kids in
I was
there.
out there Friday night, being the one guy cleaning up, and
Yeah.
somebody walked in, and, they had took and put a screw in it to where it wouldn't close all the way. So, we put a deadbolt on the inside of it now. They can't get in it anymore like that. We put a padlock on the front of it, so we can change the hardware altogether over there.
Yeah, I pull up
Yeah.
in there and I run some kids
Sure.
out. I said, it wasn't supposed to be in there.
And we're starting volleyball at the Y building. Ms. Beth called me today and said that some people come in and they got 17 from the plants already wanting to do volleyball, and we got the state troopers that talked to Mr. Russell Graham, and they want to start using the gym on Sunday to start a league for basketball, adult basketball with the state troopers and all. But we're just trying to get the place used right now. The chapel is being rented, and the way they're doing it in Lamar Dixon with the banquet room, now we can use that to rent for reception from the wedding and all. So that should be really a drawing card for us out there.
Okay. Councilman Valentine?
Ms. Gotro, Mr. Vaught mentioned about the commissary, that you have somebody that's going to lead.
We,
Can you
yeah,
develop
we're
that?
negotiating with them right now. We had two people come at the same time. One of them was looking at it for a year, and the lady that does the vendor for BP, they're looking at it right now. In fact, Beth met with them Thursday, and she'll meet with them again tomorrow. They had to go to Houston and get a final say on it, and we should know, well, probably by Wednesday, Thursday.
Don't you have two people?
Yes.
One of them local?
Mm-mm. Well,
Neither one of them local?
no, I don't think
Okay.
so.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Art catering is.
That's what I thought, yeah. I was just curious.
And look, whenever I turn my budget in, this book was bigger than this, you know? And recreations paid their price on the cuts, for sure.
Councilman Bell?
Garney, I'd like to commend you and your staff for the excellent work you do throughout the parish with recreation. I do know about your budget cuts and everything. I don't know how you do it, what you do it with. Could you mention maybe, how's our sock hop coming for us elderly people? Is it still
We had
ticking?
419 people, 449 people at the last one.
That's
You know,
super. That's-
we're having sponsors now calling us to sponsor, you know. It's gotten a little bit more expensive. We started charging $1 for cold drinks this coming one. The band is going to handle that. The band has been playing for us now for 2 years. They
I
started,
would like
they're
for
gonna
you
do
to
it for 90 days.
mention this groups that play. I've been trying to talk to each one of them every time I go. It's these people are devoting their time. Some of them come as far away as Hammond
Right.
to play, and that's just that's unbelievable.
Right. We had 14 playing for us this weekend. And, you know, we're getting a lot of people from Baton Rouge. We got some people come from St. Francisville, St. James, Biloxi, Livingston.
Yeah.
And they'll call us, say, can we come? And we tell them, come with an empty tank of gas and needing groceries and just spend
There
a little
you
bit of
go.
money,
Yeah.
you know, before you leave. And it's unbelievable how it keeps growing and growing.
Yeah,
I mean,
the ones I had talked to were actually there from St. James, the Livingston people.
Sure.
They're wanting to start the same type of function in their parish, and they.
We, the last one, we had a sponsor cancel on us Tuesday before the sock hop, and President Martinez gave us his checkbook.
Yeah.
You know, and sponsored it for us. You know, Pat, you've done it. All, you know, look, y'all all welcome to. I mean, we might need some help next Friday serving if y'all want to come serve. You know,
I
if y'all-
volunteer
if y'all don't
Dempsey
wanna
for the
dance, y'all
next
can
one.
serve. You know, for sure.
Councilman,
Yeah.
Councilman Schexnayder?
Yeah, Garner, we appreciate everything you're doing. I think things are really looking up for recreation and making do with what the resources that you have. I know there's been a purchase, kind of a changeover on the West Bank and with the park and everything. How is that going to impact the recreation there, and what changes are going to be made? What's going to be the same, and what options do the people have for recreation there?
Well, we're looking at right now, you know, we want to try to approach the 3, 4, 5-year-old children and get them into the parks and all, give them different programs, meet the senior citizens, also do something for them. But I think the secret really is to go after the smaller children and get them used to using the park and being involved in all the different programs, and try to get them involved in basketball and baseball and not just one or the other. You know, I've talked to some people, I've gotten calls, people are willing to volunteer, some of them, you know, they want to come out and help us and all. We had a good meeting with some of the guys the other night, and I had an email this morning from another one in the baseball program. And we just can try to do a good job with PR, you know, with the citizens, and give them the same thing that this side has. You know, it shouldn't be any different, you know.
And how would they go, just for people that is used to different contact people that they've had in order to get involved, just call the recreation department?
Sure. Right. Either Beth or Michelle or I, you know. And really, what I'm doing is, all this is not any new ideas. This is stuff that Bill Evans and everybody else started sharing, and all of them started years ago, and we just coming in and filling in. I mean, we were lucky that y'all gave us $750,000 to do what we're doing right now, and we have a good team. I have a great team that works with us, and all of them are cross-trained. They can do anything, you know, within recreation, and they do a good job of PR, and whenever they're at ballparks too. They go out at night, you know, and meet with the people and everything else and all, and they wear them blue shirts, people see them. We hadn't went out this much in fall ball, but the regular season we do. We just finished a walk trail Monday in Paula Park in Galvez. You know, we had some trouble with getting it done, you know, and we even have a tennis court at Galvez School now that it started like 2 years ago, and we're having people now calling us and telling us that we put a bench out there, we need to buy another bench, but I got cut, so I don't know when we'll be able to put the other bench in.
I must say, Mr. Gautreaux was cordial when I cut him $300,000 out of his budget. He took it like a man this year.
340.
Usually cries a little more.
340,000.
Councilman Kluwat?
Hey, Garney, once again, like everybody else,
Huh?
thank you for the hard work and
It's our
everything that
department. It's
including
not just
sharing
us.
it, what
It's
y'all
just-
been working on for
It's
years
just
and
something that's been
stuff.
coming for a long time, just coming together at the right time.
I just want to point out to the residents of Ascension Parish that our recreation budget, and like Tommy said, that and among other things that are coming forward tonight, are unfunded. They don't have a funding source that was dedicated through a tax form that we're pulling out of the general fund, and that you're going to walk into 2011 with, what, a $1.3 million, something like that, budget, and you're going to try to serve all the recreation needs for a parish with 100,000 plus, okay?
Sure.
And it gets to be a tough job sometimes, making everybody happy.
But we all love it. You know?
I only have one thing for the future. I've had several requests, and you know where I come from, and about possibly looking into, we all love Swamp Pop, but looking into an Old South Jamboree type thing that might start with a jam session, and something with a steel guitar in it, you know what I mean?
Sure. Hey, look, we can try one. We'll try anything.
So,
You know?
something we might want to talk to you for 2011.
Okay.
All right.
You wouldn't settle for a tennis
Anyone
court
else
too.
for Councilman Joseph?
Hey, Gordon, I know you went over to Donaldsonville. How is the basketball registration coming over there?
We're starting in the middle of October. We're going to register till most probably the middle of November. And hopefully we'll go through, I think, the season will end in February. January, the end of February.
Okay.
You know, yeah. We've had some good meetings with them so far.
Okay.
You know. I just want to be sure that we go in a smooth transition with basketball and baseball. I mean, we're not going to make no drastic changes because, I mean, look, what they're doing, it works to a certain extent, and what we do here works to a certain, we just build on it.
Okay.
And we also put a climbing wall at Lemonville. It weighed about 20, I forgot, it was heavy, you know, and they had to get the cranes and all, and the playground equipment at Lower School, I mean, that's going to add up. It'll finish the playground stuff. Then we'll look at the pavilions and whatever else we need over there.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gotro. Appreciate it.
Okay.
We'll move to item number 13, our Animal Control Program Report. Mr. Michael LeBlanc.
Good evening, Councilman, Mr. President. We are budgeted for $486,150, and we had 67% of the year. You'll see that our intergovernmental contracts and our miscellaneous revenues are at 72%. Our expenditures are at relatively 52 and 55, and so far our expenditures have been at 53%. The second page kind of breaks what those governmental contracts are and if you have any questions about animal control / animal shelter, I'm more than happy to field whatever questions you might have. I can tell you a little bit about it. I can tell you a lot about it. I'm not going to tell you a lot about it. Let me tell you about 2009. We ran through that shelter. 4,800 animals came through that animal shelter. We're right on the same mark again to go further this year. It's, y'all already know that the population is increasing, and so is that. Most people, I'm not really always sure how they see the animal control / animal shelter, and I say it that way for a reason. It was put in place for the citizens of Ascension Parish to protect them against aggressive and nuisance animals, which is a lot of that out there. And we see a lot of cases of bite cases and some really severe cases. A lot of people see a lot of nuisance animals. But in the same token, we have the side of us, what's called the shelter side. And we have enacted, through the graciousness of y'all, the council, and the president, having LSU come over with their veterinarian service. And there's 52 weeks in a year, and they come there about 45 weeks out of the year. And they spade and neuter puppies and kittens that normally wouldn't get spayed and neutered, which makes them a lot more lucrative to the public to get adopted. there's no such thing as a perfect world, but we strive, as our staff strives real hard, to make it as perfect as we can with the situation we deal with. The animals that come through there, my staff works diligently at working with the SPCA and with groups on the internet, and we get a lot of animals out. Yes, we do euthanize. We are a kill facility, but that's all part of the process. Because LSU is there, they check the animals first. We find out who has heartworms, who has tremendous health problems. We're able to break them down into a scenario that fits. It's not random. It's not all random. The animals are also looked at as far as their adoptability. And any questions y'all got?
Questions, Councilman Joseph?
Mike, the only thing I have is that I just wanted the public to know that when you do have a problem, call your department. Because
Yes.
your department do an excellent job of handling all cases I have went through with you. And I know the people in my district really appreciate it because they call me back and tell me what type of professional job y'all do.
We
on
appreciate that.
animals.
My staff works real hard getting the message out there. I go to Rotary clubs, I visit schools and do talks at schools. My staff went over the weekend to work with SPCA to get puppies adopted, cats adopted. So we do our best. It's in the paper every week. Every week we have a list of animals to be adopted. And they're real serious about what they do. And I'm proud of it.
Councilman Shanksnyder?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Councilman Joseph has said. I've been, I guess because it's close to home, I've been involved with animal shelter from the very beginning. And although it did start out, we appreciate the efforts of the first group. I think, Mike, what you've done is, with your staff, has been remarkable. I've seen a transformation. And, for the people of Ascension Parish, you need to get out there and see what we have as animal control. It's clean. The people welcome you there. You feel comfortable there. There's animals around. I'd also like to commend you for I don't believe people realize that getting involved with LSU, how much that actually saves us, and the money is probably hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Tremendous amount.
And then some other things that you have. I know you eradicated a big mouse problem. We became famous all over the country. And but just getting donations for food and stuff like that has saved thousands of dollars. So what we're getting on the shoestring budget, what we're getting in end product is really substantial. And I don't think people realize what the workers in our parish do, in this program especially, that I've seen firsthand. So get an opportunity to go out there. If you want to give a Christmas present, something that's good, get out there and get one of these good animals, because it's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman Cullen?
Yeah, Mike, say if someone does find a stray, can they just drop it off at the shelter?
Absolutely.
And is there a charge to them for doing that?
No.
Okay.
No. There's no charge for strays.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 14, Mosquito Control Department report. Mr. Matassa.
Good evening, gentlemen. Parish President Martinez. Budget total expenditures is at $708,550,000 at 67%. Personnel is at 66%. General operating expenditures 65%. Capital outlay 65%. That put us total expenditures currently at 65%. Gentlemen, Ascension Parish Mosquito Control started in 1996 by President Tommy Martinez, more of a type of vision of a nuisance control situation at that time. However, in 1999, the West Nile virus came in New York City, and we know what happened in Central Park in New York. It was West Nile virus. The program at that time started with one full-time worker, one part-time worker with 2 trucks. Currently, in 2010, we have 5 full-time workers, 15 part-time workers, 9 trucks, Currently, the spray trucks go out at night. We have a full-service program, which the trucks go out at night. We cover, on average, we spray about 60,000 acres per month. We cover, I say, the West Bank is 50 square miles. The East Bank is 250 square miles. We do larviciding in the ditches throughout the parish. We do personal requests, which is going to the general public, to houses. We average 50 to 60 requests per week. Besides that, currently, the West Nile virus in Ascension Parish, which we all know is at 9 human cases. The West Nile virus is in a category of three phases. You have neuroinvasive, which is swelling of the brain. You have the fever, then you have aerospermatic. Neuroinvasive is 1 case in Ascension Parish. There's 5 cases of fever and 3 cases of aerospermatic. And when it's aerospermatic, that's when you screen blood and they find it in your blood when you screen it. The last few years it's been quiet. Mother Nature controls this. It's a bird virus, so now it's back in. It's alive and well. Currently, like I said, we had press releases. I just recently got back from a Rotary Club guest speaker, Sportsman League guest speaker, advising people. We had press releases letting people know more cautious because of the West Nile virus in our area. Wear repellent when you go out hunting. This is hunting season right now. For the first time in history, we have mosquito poo traps. Before, in the past, some of y'all are familiar. I know Councilman Valentine and Lambert here from the old school, and Shake Snyder and Thompson. We had chickens at one time. We were drawing blood and sent it to LSU. Well, that got kind of slow, so now we catch mosquito poos. And we have reports coming from LSU weekly. This is the reports we get. We identify in our lab the species, the location, and LSU identifies what the mosquitoes are carrying. Currently, every location on the West Bank and the East Bank of mosquito-controlled poos have been positive with West Nile virus showing up somewhere in the parish, regardless of location. So like I said before, we had press releases letting the general public know to be more cautious. It is fairly, West Nile virus is not, as far as potential-wise, it's more of a attacks the immune system as far as danger to human beings. And as far as a percentage of really getting very sick, it's a low percentage. However, if you are a sickly person with a weak immune system, you pay a lot of attention to the West Nile virus. Just recently in the Florida Keys, there's the awakening of dengue fever, which hasn't been in this country in 70 years. I just went to a special meeting in the Department of Health and Hospitals. We're waiting for dengue fever on the horizon, not far away. So it's very important. The program, like I said, was started in '96 by President Martinez as more of a nuisance control. In 1999, we got a wake-up call, and through bird migration, less than 2 years, we were throughout the country. Besides that, any questions, gentlemen?
Councilman Kluwat.
Mr. Matas, I just want to thank you and your department. You guys, we see you out, no matter where you're at in the parish. We normally see the guys out at night. I know in my area the response has been real well to the personal requests and down their roads and things, so thank y'all very much.
Thank you. We do the best we can. We have a really great group of people. Not saying other departments don't, but they take a lot of pride in their work. And the people really appreciate us. They're coming in for coffee or cookies or whatever it might be to appreciate the work we do. But the people we have with our staff really get involved, and they're really proud of their work.
Councilman Shakespeare.
David, thanks again for everything you've done. Look, for the general population, what can be done to help assist you in ridding us of
Well,
these,
the bottom line is, that, like I said, the West Nile virus is a natural-born bird virus, so Mother Nature controls it. However, mosquitoes have to have water to breed. They cannot breed without water. So naturally, you go out in low-lying areas and you go check your backyards and stop the breeding. It's just that you could have a yard that's manicured basically, but your next door neighbor might not. He might be breeding your mosquitoes. So water is the carpet. Water is the fuel for mosquitoes. Currently, we're going through a drought. If you notice, the mosquitoes are not that bad. Normally, this time of year, the fall weather usually is the worst time for mosquitoes. Two big factors. One of them, the temperature drops from the 110 index, the evaporation process doesn't take place, and the trees don't drink much water along the ditches. So we're in the fall time at 70 degrees. And the other fact is that we're in a semi-drought right now, so we don't have the water to take place. But what happens is, this time of the year, most species go into a hibernation feed. You know that Mother Nature's coming with the cold weather, so the females have to have their blood meal to produce eggs, so they're more vicious in the fall weather at all times.
Councilman Joseph, you have something?
Yeah, David, once again, I'm like everyone else. Your department do a great job, and I know, you spoke a couple of times before, and one of them was on request. You know, you'll like people to at least ask for a request a week ahead of time if they have an event or something like that, so you can schedule your people. You know, I know sometimes we hold events and we wait till the last minute, they realize they have mosquitoes. And once again, we're on a tight budget, every department is, so if we can schedule it where we can put people out there.
Exactly. I mean, we have a website. We have a 24-hour voicemail. At times, we do have situations that might occur, like you had just mentioned. Might be a Saturday, might be a Sunday, might be a picnic, might be a church fair, whatever. And mosquitoes can ruin at a fair. And we do have good workers who will go out and take care of that problem, actually without overtime, because that's the type of people we have. But you're right, you need to use that website and things to accommodate the scheduling of a mosquito spray.
President Martinez?
I just want to say that the gentleman that was the first mosquito control, head of the mosquito control, Dane LeBlanc, passed away this week. So worked for us for quite a number of years, took his job very seriously, and did an excellent job in getting it started, and he passed away. So.
Anyone else? Okay, thanks, Mr. Patassa.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Lowe, I
Yes,
just want to say those three departments don't have any funding, and we're not in business to make money, but to provide services. And basically, we have a net cost of about $2,750,000. These three departments cost us between recreation, animal control, and mosquito control, without any dedicated funds other than what council and that comes from general fund. So just want the public to know that there's a lot of services provided here at no cost to them, and it works through the budget.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item number 15, our Economic Development Quarterly Report and Incentives Proposal. Mr. Mike Eads.
Good evening, gentlemen. You have a handout before you that is in a little more detail than we usually give you. That's because we've changed from a monthly to a quarterly report. Refer you to the project summary and the project chart. You see that there are 28 active economic development prospects looking at Ascension Parish. One of the significant things, if you look closely at that chart, is that 19 of those 28 projects have been started since August the 1st. So I think that's a significant uptick, and hopefully a sign that the economy is turning around. I can tell you that according to the Baton Rouge Chamber, there are more projects looking at Ascension Parish than any of the other 9 parishes, or the other 8 parishes that they serve. So that's good news. Just highlights on a couple of them. The first one there is listed as Project Sunday. That is a company we've been working with for a number of months. That it's a new technology to reclaim Freon. As you all are probably aware, Freon has been put under extreme control by EPA. It's used as a coolant because of fluorocarbons. And what this company does is go in and take Freon out of existing HVAC units, and these are particularly dealing with large commercial industrial units, and go in and reclaim it, clean it and reclaim it, and they're allowed to put it back in those units and as long as the units aren't being replaced. If they were being replaced, they would have to use the alternative refrigerant in there. So this is a project that we've been working on. The financing is derived from a UK-based source, and we've been told that that has been approved, and we have hopefully a pending announcement. Couple down the page there, IMTT, that's the International Matex Tank Terminal. I've talked to you about that a couple of times. We now have some more definition on what their intentions are. You see there, and again, these are round numbers. It looks like initially they're going to spend about $75 million on its expansion in Geismar and create about 40 jobs. We've been told by the legal counsel there may be more capital investment coming behind that, but they're not yet to commit to that. And then down the page, you see a new project called Project MUM, M-U-M. That project represents about $25 million and 250 jobs. That decision will be made before the end of the year. Ascension Parish is the only place they're looking, and keep your fingers crossed. As the footnote down at the bottom, there are 2 additional projects that are not on your chart. And the reason is the Secretary of Economic Development, Secretary Moray, has declared these projects to be confidential, which he has the authority to do. And so, per his request, we take them off the list. But those projects are significant as a combined $230 million and 75 very well-paying jobs. So stay tuned for that. In other items, the Ascension Economic Development Foundation, which is the 501c3 foundation that supports our efforts, has reached agreement with the Baton Rouge Chamber to assist them in their new 5-year fundraising campaign with Ascension-based businesses. The last 5-year campaign, only 2 organizations in Ascension provided funding to that campaign. The agreement is that if we help them raise funding, they will give us give the foundation half the money, and we don't have to pay their fundraising consultant. So that is actively underway, and we are actually making calls with them on existing companies in the parish. Next page, we're working with a landowner down in Geismar area on a potential new industrial park. It's about 120 acres. It's located east of Ashland Road and south of OxyChem, down in that area. And so hopefully we will have some more product on the market, which we desperately need. On the issue of incentives, in your package is a proposal from a company called Timerica. We have been in discussion monthly with the Chairman Bell and President Martinez, and also has come up frequently in our board meetings with Mr. Kluot and Mr. Lohr that Ascension Parish simply lacks as discretionary incentives to close deals. What that proposal is before you is to do a study of what other parishes are doing and to make recommendations to AEDC and to you all about what possible incentives could be brought to bear. The most common incentive that's used, as you all are probably aware, is the sales tax incentive, and we've rehashed this before, where you have an attorney's opinion that your sales tax revenues are tied up on that jail debt for another 18 years. So that's not at our disposal, and we need to find something else. So anyway, that proposal is for not to exceed $19,000, and I am seeking funding from the parish to pursue that project. Excuse me.
Sorry, do you want to finish the report?
Pardon?
Did you want to finish the report?
Yeah,
or
let me
do you
finish
want
the report.
Okay.
On a related item, you see that economic impact model. That's one of the things that we're going to need, regardless of whether you have discretionary incentives or not. And I'm pleased to report that Baton Rouge Area Chamber has developed or had developed for them an economic impact model. It's very well done. They're in the process now of customizing it to each of the parishes they serve. So we'll have a really good tool to bring to you when opportunities come along to show you what the actual impact is as far as on parish revenues and jobs, et cetera. We have a new website up and running. Take a look at it, please. It's still got some little tweaks we need to do to it, we know, but appreciate the more eyes we have laid on it and more feedback we get, the better we make it. On November the 2nd, Election Day at 10 a.m., we will have a ceremony in Donaldsonville to recognize the certification of the Donaldsonville Technology Industrial Park as a certified site, Louisiana's first certified site under the State's new program. You will be getting some information on that. As you all probably aware, Kristen Batulis has left us and gone on to the Greater New Orleans Incorporated. That position has been advertised. We are in the interview process, and I expect that situation to be taken care of post haste. Just a ladder item, last item, the status of Plan Ascension being, I guess, up in the air, if you could call it that. We just wanted to make sure that council hears from us that we would like to continue to pursue the designation, 2 more industrial zoning designations, light and medium industry, regardless of what happens in the immediate future to Plan Ascension. And hope we don't necessarily tie that to the plan. It needs to be done. That concludes my report.
Okay. On the incentives proposal, one of the things that I really like about it is, besides the fact that it's coming back with recommendations on what other parishes and things are doing, is that it's going back and analyzing 5 years of projects that we didn't get, and what are the things we missed out on, and what are the things we could have done better to get that, to get those deals in place, as Mr. Eads said, be it tax incentives, maybe it's a mega fund, like the state did, of course, with our budget, probably more like a mini fund. But, you know, something like that is something, just thinking a little bit outside the box, what are the things we could be doing better to really just bring in the investments in here. So I think the proposal is a very good idea.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Need a motion on the proposal? Motion by Councilman Joseph. Second by Councilman Bell. Councilman Johnson, discussion.
Mike, a couple of questions on that. I agree with Councilman Lohr that I think that doing a study would be something that would give us some more information. A couple of questions on that, though. One of the things we've done in the past here with folks that have come looking for funding from us is, the other municipalities that are in the parish, are they going to be participating in this, putting up some money towards this study?
That, you know, certainly is something that we could ask. I think they haven't, you know, approached us or asked us to do it. It's been a parish-driven project up to this point. But
Well, I mean, they benefit off of the work that y'all do as well as what we do, correct?
that's correct, sir. I agree with that.
So, I've got difficulty accepting us moving forward on all of this funding. If we're all in this together, we need to participate 100% across the board with it, in my opinion.
I understand.
I would like to see y'all approach them as well to get the funding before we approve this, personally. Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion?
Do we have the money in the budget?
Councilman Thompson? No.
Do we have that already in the budget, President Martinez, to do this?
We hadn't added it to the budget. I mean, we're in the budget process now. You can amend the budget when the budget comes before you as an item. So that's not a problem.
Councilman Shakespeare?
Excuse me, Mike, what is the total amount on this?
Not to exceed $19,000.
Okay.
It's $18,000 plus expenses, not to exceed 1,000.
Yeah, that's
how it's quoted.
That's going to give us the ability to look back and
Yes.
basically see what we've done. I really don't have much of a problem with it, except, you know, I would like to see that as part of the scope of economic development, you know, looking through that. And then I also agree with Councilman Johnson that, you know, we need to get some input from all entities in the parish, and I know other people live in the parish, outside in the parish, and they spend their money in the municipalities. And so we just like to get, you know, have an equal division of this, and I think it's a good thing. If it is a good thing, then everybody needs to jump on board, if it is an advantage. And, you know, I also would like to, you know, to make a statement. I know some people have caught some flack because we've made some reductions in economic development's, you know, budget that we've given, and it's something that we really didn't want to do. But as you can see from tonight, when we cut $5 million from the general operating budget of Ascension Parish government, you know, some other things need to be cut. And so we don't want anybody from economic development to think that we don't support you, because we do. We want to see you strive. We want to see you get better. I was one of the councilmen that really went out and tried to help you guys get started when we did. So we're also going to, you know, have all talked about trying to look at it at midterm and see what we can do to help, and if there's other methods. So keep talking with us, and let's move forward together, because we're all in this together, and we know it's going to be better. So we just want you to know you do have our support and anything we can do, but sometimes things need to be cut.
I understand, sir. Just, we'll do the best we can with what you give us. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you.
Councilman Kluwer?
Yeah, Mike, I just, with this funding here, you know, this is probably gonna turn out to be a good thing. It's been done before in other places. It's got to take a look at everything, do a root cause failure analysis, and take a look at what you need to add. I'd just like to promote, or try to look at your board and basically go to your foundation. You know, as, you know, what types of revenues are y'all looking to get in the future from, I know there was some talk about.
From the foundation?
Yes.
Well, at present, and let me preface that by saying I am not an officer or a registered agent of the foundation.
Right.
At present, if memory serves me, we've got about $70,000 in the bank that was collected over the last 4 years. And then, as far as the future goes, any additional funding would be derived from this joint campaign we have going with Baton Rouge Area Chamber. There's no ongoing source of funding except by special campaigns.
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to encourage, that the foundation work in the background,
Right.
and you know, maybe some partnership with business, you know, at some point to take a look at that. Try to put some seed money in there. Appreciate it.
Councilman Bell?
Mike, while we're talking about funding, and so what is the fund balance right now today of the economic development?
Chairman Bell, I don't know that off the top of my head. I'd have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
I'll get back to you. I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Lambert?
I guess one question, couldn't this come out of the Yao budget instead of coming out of parish government? Has it ever in other parishes done so?
It certainly wasn't in our budget for the coming year, and with the budget cuts, you know, all there's just nowhere to put it. Right?
Yeah. But you know, in economic development, again, everybody up here knows, you know, when it developed the corporation, it said it was going to be a self-funding within 3 years, and you know, the parish is still funding the majority of it, all of it, pretty much. You know, and now you're coming, you know, we did cut, and now we're coming for more. So, you know.
Mr. Lambert, I was not here when when the corporation was formed, but I would be awfully surprised if the statement was made to you all that the corporation would be self-funding. I think the statement was made that the food incubator would be self-funding.
No, sir. This was before the corporation started. It didn't have anything to do with the incubator. This was strictly before the corporation developed. They came to us at the meetings trying to, you know, bring it on board, and that was one of the statements stated, that they just needed the funding for 3 years, and then they were going to be self-funding after 3 years.
Well, again,
but we realize that ain't happening, but we come in with additional money, and that's what I have a problem with.
I can't, again, I wasn't here at the time. I would be, you know, that's not the model. That's not a common model. I don't know of any parish-wide, county-wide economic development agency that I'm aware of that doesn't receive public money. That would be an oddity.
Councilman Bell?
Councilman Lambert, Mike, I think that's what I was alluding to, but we don't know the fund balance. I mean, coming back to grab funds, and I would think you'll have pretty large fund balance right now.
Yeah.
So
I'll have to get back to you on it, Mr. Bell.
Okay, well, I have Councilman Valentine.
I'd like to make a substitute motion. We had delay this decision until a later date, till we get some facts and figures. You know, we do know that Mr. Berthelot has resigned, and he had a budget for the rest of the year, I'm sure. And so there may be some money that's available that, that the Economic Development Corporation could come up with. So I'll make that substitute motion and delay it.
I second.
Substitute motion by Councilman Valentine to delay this to a later date until we have this further information. Seconded by Councilman Benny Johnson. Any discussion, Councilman Clue?
Yes, Mr.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Mike, when can you come back with the information that they're requesting? Or-
Come back by your next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
If that's
We'll
your-
have you
if
on
that's
the
your
agenda.
Desire.
Thank you, sir.
Will
Okay.
do.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any opposition? Substitute motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 16, a DPW building project update. Parish President Tommy Martinez.
Okay, this is something that's been ongoing for quite a while. We are currently waiting for an environmental document on the fairgrounds property, and analyzing and looking at, we started off with 3 different options. One was at the jail, one was at the fairgrounds currently, and one was out on LA1. I don't know exact location, but it's before you get to the Sugar House on the right-hand side, on the Levitt side. In my opinion, and I talked to Ronnie Fairchild tonight, in fact, and asked him what his thought process was and where did he think from a public works perspective, and he certainly will be glad to discuss it with any of you, but he said he certainly didn't want it on LA1 because of the high traffic. Now, in my opinion, what I looked at from every angle and tried to look at it from a business perspective was to look at the property where it's at and the fairgrounds where it's at. First of all, we're going to own the property. I've talked to the fire department, and they're going to probably put a new fire department there, and we would be right next to them, so you would have 24-hour security there. You're also looking at, you have you have city water there, you have fire protection there, you have sewer there, so you won't have to incur those capital costs. So far, I know that at first it was going to be 2 landowners that would give the property 2.5 acres each, and I think one of them dropped out, and then I have not heard, I've heard, but that one agreed to give 5 acres at this point. Now, we don't own that land, we haven't gotten a deed to it, or we hadn't gone through any motions as far as to accept that land donation, and I haven't talked to Mr. Tebow, is the one that I think is going to donate the 5 acres. I talked to him about a train yard, but I hadn't talked to him about the Public Works building. But anyway, there's reasons there. We feel like it's somewhere that's accessible to the public in the event of a hurricane, where people can walk to it. LA1, again, in the event of a hurricane, a catastrophe, you can only, that road gets really, really busy. Right now in the mornings, it's really, really busy when the tractors would be taking out. So, I have my reasons as far as from a business perspective. I'm not looking at it any other way. It's just looking at the details and kind of where the Public Works Director, myself, and staff think that this building should go. So that's my spill on it. We're waiting, though we haven't built it yet. I hadn't made a final decision until we get the environmental clearance.
Okay. Councilman Joseph?
Yes, I want to thank the parish president for giving that insight, but I think everyone have a little binder here, and this information here is information that I have collected to give you a up-to-date status, Parish President. And Parish President is correct. As y'all can recall, the slide that we have here in front of you, the DPW building on the West Bank, and these are the ones that the administration had provided to us the first time on it. And I just want to remind everyone, in that meeting, that a motion was on the floor to go to the administration to make a decision. And in that motion, we also had Dempsey Lamb making a motion that it should be only 2 sites. And then on the other one, Todd Lambert making the decision that we ought to eliminate Site 1. We unanimous decision was voted on it, and that the 2 sites that was remaining was the jailhouse and Highway 1 North. So when the administration went, is looking at the fairground, we already had eliminated that. We had instructed to look at site, what we call Lemonville Cutoff Road, or by the jailhouse at Highway 1 North. We all knew that we was in the process of purchasing the fairground, and you know, so we the council made a decision to look at those other 2 sites based on that it was going to be a recreation complex for a kid and everything. So if you go through the slides, I mean the little tabs I have here, you have a design of the building and the floor plan. We have paid $70,000 for it already. Engineer have drawn it. Then you see the drawing of a Highway 1 North. It bases the property. The Highway 1 is in front. They have a gravel road on the backside to go along the levee that goes to Highway McCall Road or Highway 405 for a second exit. We say traffic impact. They say it was a high area of traffic, and as you can see, if you look at the traffic impact information, I have a situation from DOTD, and if you flip the next page over, in the Site 1 area, you have from the parish line to D, which we call the city limits, and if you look at the Ascension Parish average daily traffic count, you can see those numbers, and what we did was we went from actually number from 2004 to 2007 and looked at the percentage and estimated what those numbers would be in 2010. And if you look right below that, you can see the East Bank DPW building, based on Raleigh, on Church Point Road and Raleigh Road. Those numbers are actually lower than what the traffic you have on Raleigh Road. So, I mean, you know, when we say it's a high traffic area, the numbers don't add up. And also, on Highway 1 North in the city limits, we have been denied, you know, traffic lights and other stuff from the State Department, because we don't have a high number of cars passing on that Highway 1 North. And as you can see, like I say, from looking at the number of accidents on those areas, on Highway 405, Highway 1 North, Raleigh Road, and Church Point Road, if you can look at the average over the last 4 years, what those accidents were. You know? So it's very low, it's very compatible to Church Point Road, you know? If you look at the population in Downsonville, it's not growing as of right now. We don't know what the new census report is going to say, but right now we had a negative and everyone else is growing above 15 and above %. If you turn the page and you can see the proposed extension they're going to have for 3127. If you look at that, that's the DP site that's on Highway 1. You can see how it's going to affect that in the future. When they start expanding, you will have access to the area in the Downsville on 3127. You'll also have Highway 1, and that's also behind the track. You have access to go to the south end of the city of Downsville, which would give you access all the way from that point all the way to Highway 7. There's 2 different types of proposal. The state, from my understanding, have some money in the budget to work on, do the study on this, and hopefully that will come through for that 3127 extension. That first location, once again, Highway 1 North, you see what the distance is. It's in the center location of the West Bank. Also, I have a letter in there regarding to the $500,000 for the CBG grant, what it was for. Basically, just saying it's for a new DPW building. And, which come? The fairground, as the president stated, they're looking at putting on 3087. That is the area, and as you can look at that photo, they have a little ballpark there. With this, the DPW building would be by Whitney Bank, and then you have the fire station side. And, you know, that is a high area right there. We're also going to eliminate a baseball field on the fairground. I think that property should be better used as a soccer field or football field, have the kids run around more in that area. And if you see A, B, C, and D, that map right there, and you can see where that last traffic impact study that shows that in this area right here, we have an average of over 12,000 cars pass on a daily routine according to DOTD. So that's a very high traffic area that's inside the city area, in the city limit. We have Walmart, and most of the community drive in that area. As the president stated on the acquisition of the fairground, one of the requirements is to do environmental clearance, but on all the budget items that we have with that CDBG grant required a environmental study. Just like Councilman Adrian Thompson had the $5 million for the sewage, he have to do an environmental study. Any other project that was on here, all of them have to have environmental clearance before the state give up the money. You know, we use a hurricane evacuation route. As you can see, the state require, there's the 3 phases of it. There's 50 hours, 40 hours, and a 30-hour period. I have the maps. Which one is the red zone? It's the 50, what you call them? The orange is a 40, and then you have the yellow with the 30. And the state also require eastern exit, in which is basically used in Highway 90. 90 going to going to Lafayette and heading 10 and 49. If you're in New Orleans area, you heading 59, 55, and 10. You know, Highway 1 is not used that much where this thing is during the emergency, because it's not like when it was with Katrina. It was a last minute thing. Now the state is better prepared to exit people, and they normally use the 4-lane highways to exit people 50 or 72 hours early. Now, this site, you know, is the site for the, you know, I feel for the future, Highway 1 North. Once again, we're looking at 5 acres of land that's going to be donated. We're looking at the growth. We're looking at the expansion of it, and creating more environment for economic development. You know, this item here, we currently have $680,000 in the budget for this building already. That was budgeted 4 years ago, and we still, you know, on this item. You know, other than that, I don't know what to say, guys. I mean, this is a decision that we have to make. You know, we did make a decision a year and a half ago to look at 2 other sites. We eliminated 1 site. Now we're right back looking at the site that we eliminated. You know, this is all the information I can dig up on. You know, any question that you have for me regarding this here, the blueprints of the building is right here. So, you know, I'm hoping we move forward, and I'm hoping we make a decision that, make a motion that we go with site Highway 1 North.
Motion by Councilman Joseph to move with site 3, Highway 1 North. Second by Councilman Thompson. Discussion. Councilman Schexnayder.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've listened to all of these different arguments before about different sites. You could have any site that you pick around there will have 10 reasons for and 10 reasons against. Depends upon who makes the reasons with the benefits. When we had discussed this was before we had previously been given the site that we have where the DPW building is now that we're purchasing. And we've had ample opportunities to take a look at it and draw up a plan that's going to be good for everyone. I've spoken with the mayor. The general population in Donaldsonville is centered around the fairgrounds. People come there whenever there's activities. Obviously, during emergencies, traffic is really tied up all on the major highways, and it's available. People get there. I have my reasons for different locations, but it's not up to me. I think the people that have to work it on a day in, day out basis is administration. Everyone I've talked to in administration is interested in a certain site, and I'd like to make a substitute motion that we back the administration's choice. This is an administrative decision to make what's best for the parish, not for my district, anybody else's district, or anything like that. And I'd like to make a motion that the administration decides on what they need to do for the DPW building on the West Bank.
Substitute motion by Kent Schick-Snyder to make grant administration the authority to make this site selection decision. Second by Councilman Cullen. Discussion, Councilman Kluwer.
Yeah. Parish President, in discussions about this, you said that, you just said that basically your DPW director had a lot of input on trying to look and see where he can best serve that side of the parish and serve those folks.
We asked Ronnie that question, he's DPW, and he said that he certainly, his answer tonight was, and nobody put any pressure on him whatsoever, was that he did not want the building to be out on LA1 because of safety reasons. Now, I know there's a lot of data here, but you know, he has to work those men every day. We have 9 people that work on at DPW on the West Bank at this point. You know, we got a plan here with about 4, 5, 6, 4 officers for sure. Now, I don't think, you know, we got to look at all that kind of stuff too as to how big this building is going to be. There was some discussion that ACUD too would want to rent some space in here or have some space. I've talked to them, and they would, I think, participate in the cost of the building or either lease part of the building once it's built, if we decide to do so. So there's several things that's in this equation. Again, I gave you my reasons for what I thought. I just think from a common sense business perspective, I think that it's not going to be where the existing public works building is. It's going to be closer up to the highway, but there's going to be other ways to get in and out of it, to ingress and egress it. I think with the security part of it being there rather than on a standalone building out past town, it makes a lot of sense. As far as from the infrastructure that's in place, it makes sense. Now, if this group, if you as the council want to move it to the other spot, I mean, I'm not going to argue with this situation. I'm just telling you why I think this particular site is better than the site on LA1. We don't own the land yet, so if you make a motion, you still don't know if that's going to happen. So again, we have to go either way. We got to go through an environmental process, whether we pick the 5 acres or whether we pick the Donaldsonville site. So we still a ways apart here if we're going to utilize the $500,000 grant. Now, if you're not going to use the $500,000 grant, you don't have to go through that process. You can go build it, get the 5 acres and build it over there if you want to, and build a lesser building and not receive the grant.
By all means, we don't want a lesser building, and we do want to use the grant money. I would think that's my choice anyway. Is there what is the acreage that? And I'm just looking at thinking about a total facility. That if we get to the point where we do look at stockpiling.
14 acres there.
Stockpiling equipment, stockpiling materials, and things like that. So
We don't stockpile a whole lot of materials, and we don't have anything but our vehicles there. When they service, they come to the yard at Church Point, so we don't have like a mechanic shop there. We have a skid tank with gas and diesel that's utilized there, but basically we have our equipment there, and it would be in a fenced-in facility where, according to the plan that we're looking at with the fire department.
is this a decision that has to be made tonight? And I know even Councilman Joseph said that, been hanging on for 4 years or whatever. I haven't been here 4 years, but is this just an update?
I just think a decision has to be made. I'm kind of like Mr. Joseph. I mean, at some point we need to make a decision. You don't have to make it tonight, but we need to decide, what's best for the residents there and also for the parish as far as how we approach this thing.
Thank you.
Councilman Thompson, you had something?
Yes, I supported moving the site to Highway North because I was here when we got $6 million to redo this facility. And, $6 million to do this facility right here. And it's still, right now, we still are cluttered. Only reason why I support it because it's more room to expand later if we decide to do so.
Clarify your position. You said this facility. You mean the one you're sitting
This
in right now?
courthouse.
Not, yes, okay. Yes, not the DPW. This courthouse.
This
And we had the
courthouse.
money to do the courthouse. Thank you, sir. I'm on now.
And I was sitting here, and right now, we still don't have enough room here to conduct business like we need to. And I support Highway 1 because it's open, and if we decide to add something or do something else out at that site, we have an option where we can either purchase some more land and expand. It's the only reason why.
Councilman Bell?
I like Councilman Thompson. I'm for what's best for the parish, and either site would suit me. But if I'm understanding right, we don't really have the other land yet. Is that correct? We don't know if we have the land, or is it owned, or?
You're correct. The owner have verbally made the agreement that the site if the site is selected, they will donate the property. Now, we can make the motion with those terms to give them 90 days to work out the detail. I mean, we make motion all types of ways without any paperwork on people verbal agreement. I mean, and that's all I'm asking for. But that's your answer there, and I don't want to take over your minutes. I'm just responding to what you asked.
That's good. I was confused on. I'm good.
Okay, Councilman Kluwat.
Parish President, Mr. Joseph, this may be a question to both you guys. Councilman Thompson, this is in your district, right? Where this is? It's right in the edge of...
Borderline.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't know the exact line right there. Based on the verbal commitment for the landowner to donate 5 acres, do we know that this is the exact 5 acres, how you have it drawn right there?
Yes.
And the framework, you got a pretty clean line on it, you know?
Yes, that is the location.
I'd like to get something a little bit more solid from the landowner. That's why I'm asking if this is a viable, and I'm looking at it, maybe we can get something a little bit more, some kind of commitment before we talk about going that way.
I'd be glad to talk to him and ask him. Not a problem. I know him well. So.
I mean, if we push this back for another month, are we still gonna come back with basically a verbal agreement? That's what I'm saying is.
Well, to get the grant money, you still got to clear environmental, from once you. Huh?
Either place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen overnight if you use the grant money. If you want to build a $600,000 building, you can start start immediately. So that was the intent, and that's kind of what the delay has been by trying to get this extra $500,000 to build a lot nicer facility.
Councilman Cullen?
Parish President, how many acres is the fairgrounds?
14, but you probably, basically where the old building, Public Works building is today, you would tear that down and actually have parking. They don't have any parking right now for the baseball fields there. It's limited. And you would move the two buildings, including the Public Works building and the fire department, next to the highway, but there's a bank up there. And then there's going to be a couple ways to get out that would be developed on each side. There is a baseball field currently there. I'll admit that, but I think we can still use it as a soccer field and for other recreation things, and have the baseball fields up in the front. And we are planning on redoing the pavilions that were damaged. We have a grant to do that for $500,000 also that we're working on right now. So it'll change the facade when you come into Donaldsonville, and a lot of those old buildings with the tin are going to be torn down, and you're going to have some hopefully really nice buildings that's put there, and be able to have some property where the field is to probably have playground equipment and other things that kids can play on while the other kids are playing ball.
So it's 14 acres we own already. I mean, we don't have to go out and get them. We got everything running to it already, right?
That's correct. When the sale goes through, but that's going to happen. Like same thing as Lamar Dixon. Yes.
Smart move. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Joseph.
I just want to state, Parish President is correct that DPW director, but I had two former engineers of the parish looked at this here too. Bob Turner was the first original to come up with the location, and he looked at it, and that's one of the biggest things right there was looking at it with Mr. Bob Turner, that he have had the experience and the knowledge of engineering and city and growth. Ms. Jackie Bowman wants another one looked at the site and highly recommended this site because of the cost of it to do the building, and the growth of the parish. The parish president says security. There's there's an owner across the street from this location, and there's another business. But today's technology, we have cameras, we have fences, and I lived over there my whole life, and I just don't see anybody taking tractors and stuff like that and joyriding on them anymore. You got a lot of farmers over there. So, I'm out there with the public, and I know what they have requested, where they would like to see this site. Would like to see the DPW building. So, that's all.
Okay, Councilman Johnson.
Something I'm kind of confused on. I don't know who can answer this now. Mr. President, you saying we've got $500,000 to build a building today? Is that correct?
No, we have approximately around $600,000 to build a building today. There's some money that's been spent for engineering.
We originally had 750. We spent 70,000 on the architect and drawing.
Okay, so we got 750,000 to build a building, no matter where we build it at, correct?
No, we subtracted that.
Well,
to have 680.
minus the expenditures have already been done, correct?
Right.
Does that get us the building that we want? So why are we wasting, or not necessarily wasting time is a bad choice of words, but why are we looking to go after a grant if we got the money to purchase a building or build a building for what we've, with the money we've already got in hand?
No, that's part of it.
No.
You asking?
Yeah, I'm asking. That's a question I'm looking to get answered.
Total value.
You can probably build, depending on what kind of building you're building, you can probably build a building large enough for 9 people and equipment and all this stuff, $600 and something thousand, I would think, if you just put the front and then put the metal building. I think that possibly could be done. I'm being told that could be done for 450,000, 500,000.
And if I may,
But the 500,000, I'm gonna let him explain to you.
the 500,000 was when we was thinking about going green. Mr. Cedric Grant, and we looked at what building was gonna be to go green, was gonna be like $1.2 million.
Right.
Okay, so he estimated to put that $500,000 in for the DPW building. And because of that area, you know, low moderate income, we was looking at putting it into the building for that grant money. So we fit in there and make it green. We was both gonna look good. Parish looked like, you know, we was going green. And it was money to fit in the low moderate income area. So that's where the $500,000 come in.
I guess the other question with that would be infrastructural needs that you don't have out on Highway 1. Would that be covered within that additional funding to make that up? Or is that, I mean, we've got, that's what I'm struggling with, is we've got the infrastructure at the current site, and then we're looking at this one, you know.
The only infrastructure that you would be changing, according to what we have here, is the sewage.
Okay. So, I mean, is that all going to be inclusive in what you're talking about with the grant money, or is that additional green initiative for the building alone not going to cover that? And so we're going to have, that's going to be additional funds we're going to have to spend to get that taken care of.
Once again, all I can tell you is when it was green, it was 1.2. Based on what they have right here, you know, without green, it's like 600 and roughly about 737,000. So another 100 grand.
Councilman Johnson, you done?
Yeah, I'm finished. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Kluwat?
OJ, what you got on this presentation you gave us is that you have for sewer treatment plant, you got $6,000. I assume that this presentation is yours. This is not.
This is the
something that you got.
original one from administration. Their numbers at here to build a building from administration. The first two cover is what they proposed to us 18 months ago.
So you got $6,000 for sewer treatment. That's based on a sewer treatment plant. Standard sewer treatment plant.
That's according to the administration.
I still got, I'm gonna give you the floor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Lower, I'm gonna tell you, I think there's a lot of conversation on this, and, you know, get confused after a while where we stand on a motion that we have a motion to go back.
I can review that. As we stand right now, there's a substitute motion that would need to be voted on first by Councilman Shake Snyder to let administration make the decision. The original motion was from Oliver to select the Highway 1 site going forward.
And I'll go back and I'll finish up, and this is my last statement. If there's enough conversation on this, does this really need to happen tonight?
If that was the wishes of the committee, then everyone would assume would need to withdraw their motions, or Kent would need to substitute, amend his substitute to delay or something, as that's what's on the floor. Last, Councilman Valentine.
Yeah, dealing with the substitute motion, I don't really see a good argument for having it inside the city limits, Donaldsonville. This is a parish DPW building, so, and I know we might own the land, but, you know, that just came up over the past couple of years, and we've been dealing with this for a while. So, I mean, I kind of understand Mr. Joseph's, Councilman Joseph's idea about putting it on one, and Mr. Thompson's idea of being able to expand, and we're talking about 9 people. We're not talking about a whole lot of walk-up traffic, that's for sure. So I don't think or trying to build or change the facade of the recreation department, which is what we're going to buy that for to start off with, I guess. But I'm kind of like Mr. Kluwat. I mean, if we got what I'd like to see is the fact that, and Mr. Parish President has already suggested it, that he try to secure the donation of the land, because to me, that's the stickler. If the donation of the land comes in, I think we'd be foolish not to put it out on one, to tell you the truth. I don't think traffic safety has anything to do with it. We're dealing with, I mean, Mr. Councilman Joseph, I got to commend you on your statistics you got here. You proved the point. That really, we're not worried about it over here at DPW on the east side, so why should we worry on the west side? And you should know the west side more than anybody else. So as far as I'm concerned, the hang-up is the property. So I'd like to see us try to work something out with the property and come back. And I like Mr. Cluart, I'd like to see us kind of put this off until we try to do that. If that was commendable.
That would maybe take a substitute of the substitute, or what?
Could amend the substitute,
mean,
or do I have that in my? Is Tony around?
I can amend my motion and have the parish president make a negotiation with the landowners and give them 60 days and come back to us with a report. And, you know, but it's, like I say, it's an administrative thing. It's not, each one of us would have many different reasons for whatever, so I'm fine with it, whatever they do. Parish president wants to take it and talk to the landowners, and that would be fine. Give them 60 days and come back to us.
Okay. We could do that, or everyone could rescind their motions, and we just basically proceed ahead.
Well, if you vote on that, then you...
I mean, are you going to make that as an amended motion?
Yeah.
Is that an amended substitute?
Yes.
Can you clarify again what it is?
That will give the parish president 60 days to negotiate with the landowner and come back with something definitive about the property.
Can I suggest that it go through strategic planning? Because as going through this is really, in my mind, a
Yeah.
strategic decision based because the finances are all around about the same. It's not about, to me, finances at this point. This is kind of more strategic where we're going to put it, just in my view.
That's up to you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so that's an amended motion. I was just wondering if you wanted to put that in your motion or not. That's why I suggested it. Okay, but that's fine.
It's up to you, Mr. Chairman.
We will do it's an amended substitute motion by Councilman Scheck-Snyder to have administration negotiate for 60 days with the landowner for site number 3. Do I have a second? Do I have a second on the amended substitute?
I'll second that.
Second by Councilman Johnson, Councilman Valentine.
I want to clarify the motion. Is the motion, we're going to let administration pick it and let them negotiate whether they get it or not? Or, you know, my problem is we're the legislative body. I understand that parish president, you know, may choose and come with a recommendation. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to take it. You know, I mean, and there's an argument here that I think justifies, in my mind, that it needs to go out on Highway 1. I'm not saying that's the best decision. I'm not saying that's everybody else's decision. I'm just saying I don't want the motion to read, well, yeah, and if he's not able to negotiate, then it goes back to the fairgrounds. I think there still ought to be some discussion on it. I mean, you know, that's my point. So clarify the motion for me, Chairman.
All the motion was that the parish president take 60 days to negotiate with the landowners whether we can get the land or not donated.
Okay.
That's it.
All right,
And then
that's-
report to
That's
us.
your substitute motion.
That's it.
Okay. Councilman Joseph.
I just want to understand, like you said. So a letter from the landowner saying that they will donate the property if this council vote that location. That letter would be sufficient for this council. Not saying that if they're not going, I mean, nobody going to say, I'm going to give you the land, sign a letter giving you the land, and don't have a justification why they're going to give it to you. I mean, I have talked to Mr. Charles Tebow, and he's the only reason they're doing that is for this purpose. If it's not selected, then he don't want to have nobody coming there talking about where you made a donation, some land to the parish with this letter.
And perhaps I'm speaking for the rest of the committee. I think it's just everyone would feel more comfortable if there was something more than just the conversation in terms of the written letter, some kind of agreement. So I guess we need a vote on the amended substitute motion. I'll call for a vote. Any objection to that vote, to that motion? Okay, the amended substitute motion passes. Item 17, resolution to authorize the creation of a new department with a budget of $18,900 for the remainder of 2010, and to authorize administration to proceed with the agreements necessary to move forward with the Parish Adjudication Court. Ms. Tony
Motion.
Felterman.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kluot, second by, I'm sorry, who? Who was the second by?
It's best
Councilman
though you
Jake
don't have to
Snyder.
shake
Okay. Any discussion? Guessing no. Any objection? Motion passes. Item number 18, amendment to contract to increase the contract with Enman Enterprises doing business as Janet King of Baton Rouge from $60,000 to $110,000 for janitorial services at Lamar Dixon. Ms. Tony Felterman.
This is just a contract, it's amendment to contract for professional services. And, like it said, it was not to exceed 60,000 per year, and now it's not to exceed 110,000 per year.
May I explain a little bit on
Yes,
that?
please.
Can I explain that? That is part of the BP deal. They help pay for the janitor to go into the building and clean. That's part of their expenses above what they pay. So that's why this increase in this contract.
So if we
So
increase
moved.
this, it'll come back to us.
Yes.
Motion by Councilman Jake Snyder, second by Councilman Thompson. Discussion, Councilman Valentine?
Parish President, so once BP, if they move out next year in February, then it's gonna reduce.
Certainly will go down.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any objection? Motion passes. Item 19, amendment to contract with SJB Group Incorporated, approving the additional acquisition of 5 parcels on the Roddy Road Final Phase project and increasing the original contract by $37,717 for a total of $140,317. Ms. Falterman?
This is, like it says, part of the Roddy Road Final Phase project. And, some of the amounts went up for, if I'm not mistaken, like expropriation and stuff that they weren't expecting. And, we're just asking for.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by
Second.
Councilman
I'll second.
Lambert, second by Councilman Johnson. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Lambert, second by
excuse me.
Councilman Bell. Yes.
Just want to remind everybody, we have the strategic planning meeting that we had to make up immediately.
We're gonna take a brief recess, Mr. Schick? Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned.